Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkrupatamahamam vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So I seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and all of you so that this topic can go well. So this topic I learned from His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, and I have what I learned from the Srimad Bhagavatam and different lectures on that. So this topic which we will have as a theme, okay. So I planned like there should be some 3 classes on this, okay. So the theme is like greater than the life's power to hurt is Krishna's power to heal, okay. And in that the main point will be like accessing the power of healing of Krishna, and that will be the solution. So we will not focus not on the wrongdoer but focus on the ultimate doer, okay. So main theme you have to remember, that is greater than life's power to hurt is Krishna's power to heal. So in our life we might have so many situations where sometimes we create small mistake but the consequences will be very big, and that time we are not able to make sense of what has done. I have done some little thing only, but why this so much big thing has to happen, why I have to face so many things. So these kind of situations we have in our life. So to elaborate on this topic, what we will do is we will take Parikshit Maharaj's example, okay. So he done small mistake, but for that he got a curse, that is to die in 7 days, okay. And there is another category, that is we are not doing anything, we are on our way, we are not disturbing anyone, we are in our normal course of life, but suddenly someone comes in front of us and starts tormenting us. And even if we try to get over that, get rid of that, still that person is like on a mission to destroy us. So this kind of situations sometimes we might have in our life. To elaborate on this topic, we will try to take the pastime of Gajendra Moksha, okay. So that we will do in the next session, not on this session. And there will be third thing, like, okay, the two things are like we have done small mistakes but still we have to face big consequences. Second is we have not done any mistake, we are going normally, but someone is coming in front of us and started torturing us. And the third situation is we are going out of our way to help someone, okay. And that has become a problem for us. So we want to do some service, but because of this service we are actually have to face a lot of torture from that other person. So this topic we will elaborate by taking the example of Prahlad Maharaj, because the Prahlad Maharaj only problem was that he was a devotee, nothing else was there, and he wanted to serve, but that service has created lot many problems for him. So in this session what we will do is we'll try to analyze the pastime of Parikshit Maharaj, how he got the curse, and what was his mood, and because of that what has happened, okay. So till this moment, is everyone clear what we are going to discuss? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji.
clear.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So would you be interested to listen, or shall we do something else?
No, no,
Yes,
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji,
this
we
is
are
need of
interested.
the
We
hour.
will listen to our life.
It's
Okay,
a need of
fine.
the hour.
Great. So with that hope only I have planned this. Okay, so let's go ahead with the pastime. So some of you might have heard about Parikshit Maharaj, and some of you might be new. You might not know about him or what has happened, and why is the reason, what is the reason behind Srimad Bhagavatam being recited. So I'll try to share in brief about this story. So Parikshit Maharaj is the son of Uttara and Abhimanyu. Okay. And Abhimanyu is the son of Arjuna, one of the Pandavas. Okay. So Arjuna, you all know. Okay. So this is Parikshit Maharaj. And Parikshit Maharaj, when he was in the womb of Uttara, this Ashwathama actually fires a Brahmastra to kill him in the womb itself. But Krishna saves him. And that is why one of the name of Parikshit Maharaj is Vishnurat. That means he saved by the Vishnu when he was in the womb. And why his name is Parikshit? Because when he was in the womb, he saw Lord Vishnu who was protecting him. He had 4 hands. So in the throughout his lifetime, he was examining and he wanted to see that same person whom he has seen in the womb, okay, when he was in the womb. So that is why Pariksha means examine, right? So Parikshit means the one who examines. So that is why his name is Parikshit. So when we are talking about this topic, the relation of Parikshit Maharaj, which pastime is there? So that is, one day what happened is he went in the forest. Okay. So generally kings go to forest and he also travels in different places so that he can see how the ruling is happening. And Yudhishthir Maharaj is the Chakravarti Samrat, so he was the emperor of the world. And after him, he given all this responsibility to Parikshit Maharaj. Okay, when Krishna departed from the world, all the Pandavas has renounced everything and they also departed. So Parikshit Maharaj was the ruler of the world. And when he was the ruler, he used to do all the checking of all the places, how the ruling is happening, etc. So in that way, he went to forest. And what happened is he was tormented by the thirst. Okay, so he was very thirsty. He wanted some water. So what happened? Nearby there was a hermitage. Okay, hermitage means where the hermits will be there. The saints or the sages will be staying in a hut kind of thing. No, so that is called as hermitage. So he went to hermitage of Shamika Rishi. So Shamika Rishi, when he went there, Shamika Rishi was in a trance position. Okay, so he was meditating on something, and he was obviously he's closed. Eyes were closed. Okay, so Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that sometimes it is very difficult to know what is action and what is inaction. Okay, so Parikshit Maharaj entered the hermitage and he saw that the Shamik Rishi was in a meditative position and he was not responding. Okay, so when he was not responding, he thought what might be the case. Okay, so similarly, imagine that someone is sleeping, our family member is sleeping in a room. Okay, and we want to check whether that person is sleeping or not. So what we will say? We'll ask them, "Okay, are you asleep?" Okay, but now when someone doesn't respond, okay, we'll have two thoughts. Maybe he is sleeping, or maybe he don't want to respond. Sometimes, when someone asks, "Are you asleep?" When we don't want to answer, though we are awake, we will not answer anything, right? So if that person and we have some issue, okay, then definitely we'll say he is not asleep, but wantedly he's not responding. So what happens is when our relationship with that person is not proper, we will only take the negative assumption. Okay, we might have a positive assumption also. He might be asleep, but we will only take negative. So here also similarly, what happened is he was tormented by the thirst. Okay, and the Shamika Rishi was not responding. So what he thought is, I made the sound of my entering into the hermitage. Still, that sage is closed with his eyes. So I think he wanted to insult me by not responding. So what happens is, sometimes due to the physical pressure, okay, when we are thirsty, when we are hungry, our mind and intelligence won't work properly. So because of that, there is a possibility that we misjudge the people. So similarly, that happened with Parikshit Maharaj. He misjudged the Shamika Rishi. He was actually in a trance. He cannot observe who has come, who has not come. So he could not respond. But Parikshit Maharaj has taken a negative judgment. Okay. So what he done? He thought like, okay, he is insulting me. However, I have to leave. So he started leaving. Okay. And on that path, there was a dead snake. Okay. So what he does is, now he is a trained warrior. So what he does with his bow, he just flipped that dead snake in such a way that it will go and go onto the neck of Shamika Rishi. Okay. So he has thrown in such a way that it will become like a garland for Shamika Rishi. So it was a sarcastic expression which says that when I came, you have not offered me any garland. So now I am offering you a garland. So that's what he has done. Now, this incident happens in the 18th and 19th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. Now, before this chapters in the 16th and 17th, the character of Parikshit Maharaj was elaborately discussed. How great king he is, how great devotee he is, how he was the protector of the cows, how he's the protector of all the Brahmanas, etc. Now, when we look at this incident and when we try to match with what we heard in 17th and 16th chapter, then it will be like a contradiction. How this can happen? But actually, due to the sheer pressure of his thirst, he has done like this. So when he went back to his palace and he took some water, he took some rest, then his intelligence started working. And he just realized that I have done an offense against a Brahmana. So I should have not done like that. But meanwhile, what happened is there is a son called Shringi of this Shamika Rishi. And he has saw all this incident in his mystic vision. So he was a Brahmana, he has some mystic powers. So he saw what all happened. And what he has considered is, now when someone sees his father is garlanded with a dead snake, well, the son will be happy or angry?
Angry.
Angry.
Angry, right? And he was a Brahmana and he was angry, and he just saw what has happened. He didn't consider anything. And what he done is he started thinking. And what he says is very amazing. So he says, these Kshatriyas, what they think about themselves, they are meant to be just the doorkeepers of our house. And now you see how much arrogance they have, that they have done like this to my father. Now maybe this upstart thinking started coming only because Krishna has departed from the world. And they think that if Krishna has departed, no one is there to protect the dharma, but I am there to protect the dharma. So I will curse this king to die in 7 days. Now it is very wrong to give punishment, such a big punishment, to someone who has done a little mistake. And while giving this punishment, which is inappropriate, thinking that I am doing God's work is to establish dharma, protect dharma, but God is not there present. So I will become that person and I will establish dharma. So when someone is actually justifying their action by telling that I am doing God's work, is very, very dangerous. And that's what Shringi has done. So when we have power, what
Yes.
happens is we get intoxicated with our power. It mostly happens when we have a power, we get intoxicated with our power and we just start doing the things without considering the whole picture. So when Shamika Rishi came to know that this Shringi has cursed Parikshit Maharaj, he was felt very bad. Actually, when he got up from his meditation, when the snake was around his neck, he didn't feel anything. He just threw the snake and he was just moving on. But when he come to know that Shringi has cursed Parikshit Maharaj, then he was like to saying to Shringi, "What did you have done? Actually, he is the protector of us, and he is a great devotee. How can you curse like him?" So, in the principle of justice, there is one thing has to be considered, that the punishment has to be appropriate with the wrongdoing. That means when someone does a mistake of, let us say, 10% mistake, then the punishment also should be like a 10%. It should not be based on the outrage of the person. So sometimes what we do is, rather than punishing the person based on what mistake he has done, we will punish based on how hurt we are, right? So actually what Parikshit Maharaj has done is just thrown a snake as a garland on his Shamika Rishi. For that mistake, yes, it is a mistake. And when his intelligence awakens after taking water and relaxing, Parikshit Maharaj also realizes that I have done no offense. Okay. So that was a small mistake, but he is not supposed to get such a big curse for that. So here what happens is, this is the theme of our class, that sometimes we do very small mistake, but for that we have to face some catastrophic consequences where we feel like there is no connection. When there is law of karma, there should be like, I have done this mistake, maybe proportionate consequence should only come. But sometimes we see like we do very little thing and something very big comes upon. Sometimes in an anger, we might say one word to the other person, and that other person takes it too seriously that he goes on a tantrum and he says to everyone, this person has said like this to me, this person has said like to me. Arey, it was a small word, one word only, and you have forgot what all the other things I have told. So sometimes we feel like law of karma is not working properly. I have done something little, some little reaction has to come, but it is something going beyond that. So we get a confusion like whether law of karma is working or not. So similarly, in the Parikshit Maharaj case, what happened is he done a very small mistake, but because of that, he has to face the death. Now, being a devotee, being the ruler of the world, Parikshit Maharaj has all the reason to become outrageous. He could have counteracted this curse also. He could have done so many other things also. And most importantly, he could have done two things. That is, he could have blamed himself. Arey, why did I do like that silly act? I could have left just like that. Because of that, I have to face this consequences. Because of that, I have to face death. Why I have done that? How stupid I am, etc. So he could have blamed himself. Second, he could have blamed Shringi. Hey, how he's unintelligent boy he is. How can he curse like this? I have to punish him. So two things that were possible to go with. One is blaming himself and blaming that other person. But actually, if we see Parikshit Maharaj's case, that he has neither blamed himself nor blamed the other person. So most of the times when life goes in a toss and we start taking or we start facing so many challenges in our life, we will feel like, either to blame ourselves for what mistakes we have done, or we want to blame other people. And when these two activities we perform, what will happen is we will stay stuck. Okay, we don't go ahead in our life. So if we consider the Bhagavatam, the Shringi, this name appears only in the 18th or 19th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam first canto. But after that, there will be 11 more cantos, maybe almost more than 17,000 verses. In that, we never hear about this boy Shringi. Parikshit Maharaj is always talking about himself saying, I was listening to Krishna, I was listening to the pastimes, I was just drinking the nectar from Shukadeva Goswami, I was fasting. All these things he tells, but he never shares that, because of this Shringi, I have to face this. I was having a normal life, but because of this person, I have to face all these things. So he never regrets. So sometimes what happens is it is very difficult for us to know why something is happening. Okay. So what we see is we see our karma, that is the action what we have done, and we will see the result. So we will feel like there is no proper correlation. I have done small thing, but something big has come. And I could feel like, what is this happening? And this feeling actually draws our, it will actually saps all our energy. We will stop working or functioning properly and we will get stuck with this question. So most of the times what will happen is we will see only karma and the fruit of our karma. Okay. So when I say karma, it is our action. Okay. So karma has multiple meanings. Sometimes when I say karma, it can be law of karma together. Or sometimes when we say karma, it might be vikarma, or sometimes it can be akarma, or sometimes it can be normal karma action. But in this context, what we are telling is karma means our action, okay, what we do. So most of the times we will see only two things. One is karma, and the second is the reaction or the fruit. But in between, actually, there will be two more things. That is daiva and kala. So karma plus daiva plus kala gives us the fruit, that is reaction. But most of the times we forget to see these two things, that is daiva and kala. Why we forget or ignore to see? Because they are mostly invisible. So we'll try to understand this by taking two examples. So when a farmer is there, he plows the field, puts the seeds, okay? After that, what he has to do? He has to wait for the rains. When the rains come, that is daiva, because that is beyond his control. And after the rains also, immediately the harvest won't come. There will be time, right? So that is kala. So in a farmer's example, to get the crop, after he's sowing the seeds, so sowing the seeds and plowing the field is karma. And in between, rains is daiva, and then kala, the time for the harvest. And then only the crop, that is fruit. So this is one example. Another example, if we see in the pastime of Chitraketu in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he has many thousands of wives, but he actually doesn't have a child. So in general, when a couple unites, there has to be conception. But there is no guarantee that every time they unite, there will be conception. Because uniting may be in our hands, but the conception is beyond our control. And even the conception happens, there has to be some gestation period, like 9 months, then only the baby will come. So karma plus daiva plus kala leads to the fruit. So most of the times we will only know these two things, karma and fruit, and we forget these two, and that is why we get drawn into the frustration. We will feel like, why this much of consequences has to happen for this small mistake? What did I do? Is God so unfair that he's not looking at me? So much of struggle he's giving me for small mistakes. What did I have done? So much of emotional trauma we will be having. So here, if we see, let us say, take an example of a gun. Okay. So when you pull the trigger, what will happen? When you have a gun, when you pull the trigger, what will happen?
Bullet
Bullet will come
will
out.
come.
Bullet will come out. Okay. But let us say that gun is a toy gun and it has only plastic bullets. What will be the loss after pulling the trigger? Big or
All
small? Small,
Small.
right? Let us say another gun I will talk about. That is a stun gun. Okay. Only sound will come. You remember those guns which we children have? So you
Yes,
just pull the
Prabhu.
trigger, only sound will come, no bullet. And there is a real gun. So when you real gun, when you pull the trigger, bullet will come and something terrible can happen. So in these three guns, whether it is a toy gun, stun gun, or real gun, the action or the karma what we have performed is only pulling the trigger. But the reaction depends on what gun we are holding. Okay. So if we are holding a real gun, something terrible can happen. So it is very difficult to just correlate what action we have done with what reaction has come. So what we forget is there are Daiva and there is Kala. If we forget these two things, then we will not be able to understand anything. So now when we talk all this, okay, having said all this, now the question comes, okay, when we are talking about Daiva, something is beyond our control. Can we say Daiva and Krishna are same or they different? How they are related? Okay, so Daiva is destiny, okay, and Krishna is God. So what is the relationship between destiny and Krishna? So to know this, we will try to go in a pastime which has happened in Mahabharata. Okay. So till now, whatever I spoke from last 15, 20 minutes, is it clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yes,
So fine. So there is a pastime in Mahabharata. So what happens is now on the 10th day, the Bhishma will fall. Okay. So Bhishma is no more the commander of the army of the Kauravas. Okay. Because he been shot so many arrows by Arjuna and he's lying. So now there is a challenge. Who has to be the next commander in chief? So then everyone expects like Karna will be the commander in chief because Duryodhana and Karna are very good friends. So definitely Bhishma was there. That is the reason Karna was not entering into the battlefield. So once Bhishma is down, then Karna has to take care. So that is what everyone thought. So as usually, Duryodhana went to this one, our Karna. Okay. And he said, you be the commander. But Karna said, no, there are so many senior warriors are there and it will be very difficult if you give me the commandership. So Dronacharya is like the Acharya for all of us. So I think he should be given as the commander in chief. So Duryodhana feels, okay, all right. He goes to Dronacharya. Okay. And Dronacharya was like, he felt like, okay, only Karna will become the commander in chief and I have to serve under him. So it will be a great insult. That's what he was thinking. And suddenly he hears from Duryodhana that he says, I want you to be the commander in chief. And it was like a pleasant surprise for Dronacharya. So he says, I'm very pleased with your decision. Please ask for some boon. So then, this Duryodhana is a politician. Okay. So politicians are like opportunists. When the opportunity comes, they'll take a boon. So what Duryodhana says, after seeing the war for 10 days, after seeing the power of Arjuna and Bhima, I have concluded that we are not going to win this war. So what I want you to do is, I want you to arrest Yudhishthir. Okay. So, this Dronacharya's eyes got wide open and he felt like, oh, Prince, you are so intelligent and so kind that you also know that Yudhishthir is Ajatashatru and you don't want to kill him and want to just arrest him. I'm pleased by hearing this. So Duryodhana says, nay, I have a different plan. So he says, I want you to arrest Yudhishthira. And once you arrest Yudhishthira, I'll challenge him for another gambling match. And I will win that gambling match and I'll send them for again 13 years to that forest. And during this 13 years, I will consolidate my strength. I'll get ready for the next war. So Dronacharya felt like you will never change. Okay. So then he said, okay, fine, whatever you want, I will do because I have promised. So, but there is one condition. you have to sidetrack Arjun. I cannot fight with Arjun because Arjuna is my student. I have told many strategies, everything that I know, all the arts to him. And moreover, he has performed so many austerities and he has got celestial weapons also. And he is younger than me. So I cannot fight with him. So you have to sidetrack him. So on the 11th and 12th day, Duryodhana puts a lot of effort to sidetrack Arjuna so that Drona can fight with the Yudhishthir and arrest him. But what happens? At the end moment, somehow Arjuna comes back and saves the day. So like that, 1-2 days happened. And due to this sidetracking, actually Duryodhana loses lot of army. So on that 12th night, he comes infuriated and he was in full anger. He goes to Dronacharya and he says, Acharya, you have promised that you will arrest Yudhishthira. But I think you are so much soft-hearted for your Pandavas because they are your students. So you are not fighting the war wholeheartedly. If you cannot fight the war wholeheartedly, then just step down and give the commandership to Karna. He will lead. You serve under him. So a politician is actually know how to flatter and how to infuriate other person. So even Chanakya Pandit says to Chandragupta Maurya that if you want to become the king of the world, then you should also have the power of swords and you should also know the power of words. So Duryodhana was actually wanted to say all these words so that he can become more, invoked, and he actually goes on the fight with full wholeheartedly. But what Drona says, oh prince, you heard those who are fighting for your cause. Actually, see my body, it is being wounded badly because Arjuna was shooting so many arrows and so much of struggle I have to go through. And after all this also, you are just hurting me with your words. But I want you to know that I have fought with full endeavor. I have given my best. But a human being can only endeavor. He cannot bring the results on his own because destiny is beyond his control. And what to say, O prince, the Lord of destiny is sitting on the chariot of Arjuna. So there Krishna is being referred as Lord of destiny. So when we had a question whether Krishna and destiny, what is the relation, then we should know that Krishna is the Lord of destiny. Okay, so sometimes we feel like this law of karma is mechanical. Okay, but it is not mechanical. It is actually karmana daiva netrena. Okay, so it is always under the superintendence of Krishna. So how we can understand that whether Krishna is directly acting into it or indirectly acting into it? So we can see that, when someone jumps from a 10th floor building, okay, so he might forget the gravity, but gravity won't forget him. So he will broke his legs. So here, Krishna, the law of gravity is also a law, and all the laws are working under Krishna. But Krishna is not making that person fall. No? Okay. So what is happening is Krishna is there indirectly through his laws, but he is not personally there to, invoke that person and jump. So sometimes we feel like whether our mistakes are Krishna's plan or our plan, because everything is under him and everything has to go under his control. So sometimes we might feel like our mistakes are also Krishna's plan. So here what we have to understand is two things. One is sometimes we are not able to understand why is happening what. Okay, why I have to get all these consequences. And sometimes we go in a different direction also. We feel like maybe my mistakes are also plan of Krishna. So we have to understand that our mistakes are not plan of Krishna. Okay, but our mistakes can also get accommodated in the plan of Krishna. Okay, it's like before we go to that topic, what we will do is we'll try to understand the mechanism of law of karma. Okay, so suppose there is a water tank. Okay, so in the water tank there will be one inlet and there will be one outlet. Okay, so we will feel like the water what has entered from inlet, that has to come outlet. True, it has to come, it will come.
Yes, Prabhuji, it will
Yeah,
come.
so what we feel is this is what we are doing and this has to be the karma. Okay, but now the law of karma is not so simple that water is coming and water is out. Okay, suppose that whole tank has multiple pipes in it. Okay. One pipe has a facing like, it is going up and down like this. And one pipe has a very round structure. So it depends on a different time, the flow will come. And might be there are some other pipes are also interlinked where the water is getting mixed. So what is entering, there is no guarantee that that will only come out. And with that speed only it will come out. It can come out at any time with any quantity with any quality, because so much of internal mixing is happening. So similarly, the law of karma is like this. What is getting mixed, what is getting added, what is getting deleted, what is magnifying, what is reducing, we cannot know. So we simply think like, this tank, the karma I'm doing, the result has to come like this. But in between there is daiva and kala. So this looks like a material mechanism, but this material mechanism also being under the control of Krishna only. So when we say that, this thing is happening, that thing is happening, underlying all these consequences, one thing has to be sure, or one thing we have to remember, that all that is happening is for us to evolve spiritually. So this is the important point of law of karma. Sometimes we see like law of karma is actually very ruthless or very mechanical. It doesn't have a feeling, etc. But actually Krishna has arranged this law of karma. He operates it so that we can evolve spiritually. So whenever some bad thing happens, Krishna indicates that this is the time to intensify your devotion. This is the time to realize that this world is not the place to live. This is the time you have to remember me more. So when something is happening very illogical, then that time we might have a big question: why this is happening, why this is happening, why this is happening. But sometimes we cannot get the answer why it is happening, who is doing this, how he is doing this. All these questions we cannot get answered. Sometimes if it is very simple, let us say you have a stomach upset, you go to a doctor. So what doctor will ask you?
What did you eat?
What did you eat?
Okay, so if you have ate something which can cause stomach upset, then it is very clear. Okay, something I have eaten and it has caused stomach upset. But you have eaten that proper food, normal food, healthy food only. Still the stomach upset happens. Then we have to look back, maybe what is the case and all. Okay, so today we have many people going through the problem of obesity. Okay, so even they eat little bit, they might become fat. Okay, but there will be some people who treat their tongue as a conveyor belt. They just sense whatever they want and still they will not become fat. Have you seen such people? ఎంత తిన్నా అలాగే ఉంటాడన్నమాట.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
Prabhu.
yes,
These
Prabhuji.
people, Prabhu.
So we will feel like, where is this law of karma is working? Okay, I am eating this much, I am becoming like this. This guy is eating tons of tons and still he is thin only. So we'll feel like so much injustice, isn't it? So some people's karma works like that only. Sometimes we do some mistake, but just we get away. There will be no consequences. Sometimes we don't do any mistake or very small mistake also, consequences will come. So here, whatever may happen, whether good or bad, one thing we have to remember, that Krishna is wanting us to evolve spiritually. Okay, whether it is good or bad, Krishna wants us improvement. So in this situation, like in Parikshit Maharaj, what he decided that now I cannot just harp on the question, why did this happen? But I want to change my question. What is my question? My question is not about why, but my question is how. How can I serve Krishna in this situation? So similarly, when we go through challenges, sometimes our mind will actually make us get heated with the question of why. So that time we should stop asking why and we should say, how can I serve Krishna now? Because sometimes, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, Bhakti actually frees the soul from the burden of being the controller of the world. Bhakti actually frees the soul from the burden of being the controller of the world. Sometimes we feel like, I have planned in this way, this thing has to happen. And when that doesn't happen, we get frustrated. Why? Because we have the burden, we think that we are the controller. But what Bhakti does, Bhakti will tell you that you are not the controller, Krishna is the controller. Okay, so if something is gone wrong also, it might be in the plan of Krishna. You might have done some mistake, okay, you can correct them, but you cannot just crib on what has happened. Okay, so Krishna is the controller. So when we have this feeling, there will be no burden. Okay, we can accept our mistake, we can take responsibility for our mistake, but we can actually move on. Otherwise, what will happen? We get stuck with the frustration. So when things happen like this, so Parikshit Maharaj, what he decided? He want to take shelter of Krishna exclusively. So he said, I have only 7 days, and he has been the devotee throughout his life. But then he said, this time I have very less time, so I will take exclusive service to Krishna. So there are two kinds of services. One is exclusive and one is inclusive. So in the inclusive service, we might be serving in the temple as a president or something, or we might be doing our job. We might be doing so many other things, and we are remembering Krishna. We are being grateful to Krishna. So that can be inclusive service to Krishna. But exclusive service to Krishna means you are only, Krishna is the forefront now. You are chanting, you are hearing about Krishna, you are attending these classes, or you are listening to Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. You are trying to serve the deities. So all this is exclusive service. So what Parikshit Maharaj has decided, he wanted to do exclusive service to Krishna. And how he wanted to do this? Not in a resentful mood, but in a grateful mood. So our actions might be devotional, but our mood also has to be devotional. So sometimes we might have resentment inside our heart and we wanted to serve. So Parikshit Maharaj was not at all resentful. Okay. He was practicing gratitude at that time also. He thought like maybe Krishna wanted me to do exclusive service in this way. So I should be thankful for his plan. Okay. So we cannot be grateful in all we cannot be grateful for all the situation. Sometimes bad things will happen to us. We might lose a job, we might lose our money, we might lose our loved ones. Yes, bad things happens in our life. So we cannot be grateful for all the situations, but we can be grateful in all the situations. So something bad has happened to us, we may not be able to be grateful to that what has happened, but during this time when I'm going through this, I can practice gratitude. So if we don't have this attitude of gratitude, what will happen is we'll get stuck. We will get stuck with the why question. But if we are grateful in that situation, then we can look at how I can serve Krishna. And ultimately, Srila Prabhupada also says in the first canto that if things are beyond the human control, then there is nothing to regret. If something is in your control, you could have done it well, that is okay. But if something is beyond your control, you're not able to do anything, why you have to regret for that? Just focus on what you have right now and how you can serve Krishna. So when we are grateful, we go beyond our mind's trap of blaming ourselves or blaming others. And sometimes when we do mistakes, or when sometimes others do mistake, we say that we have to forgive. Okay, so when someone does mistake, we have to forgive. Similarly, if we do some mistakes, we have to forgive ourselves. Why? Because if we do not forgive yourself, we cannot give ourselves to Krishna. So if we want to offer a flower to Krishna, what kind of flower we want to offer? A rotten flower or a fresh flower?
Fresh flower.
Fresh one.
Fresh flower.
Right? If we want to offer some food to Krishna, which food we will offer? Freshly cooked or something which is stale?
Freshly cooked.
Freshly cooked, Prabhuji.
Right? So Krishna doesn't want our food, what we cooked, or our money, or our flowers, etc. Krishna want us. And through all this service, what we are doing is we are trying to offer ourselves to Krishna. So if we don't forgive ourselves, if we have resentment of whatever mistakes or whatever past we have, then what will happen is we are not giving the fresh consciousness to Krishna. We are giving some negative, rotten consciousness to Krishna. And we can only give ourselves to Krishna. Somebody else cannot give us to Krishna. Only we can give ourselves to Krishna. So if you don't forgive yourself, then you cannot give yourself to Krishna. And when you cannot give yourself to Krishna, what is the point in practicing devotion? The devotion is all about we surrendering to Krishna. It is about saying Krishna belongs to me, I belong to Krishna, and without Krishna, there is nothing. So when we are not able to offer ourselves, then what will happen is our bhakti will be very dry. So with resentment, with so much of anger and hatred towards ourselves or others, we cannot offer ourselves to Krishna. So we have to forgive ourselves. So we have to practice gratitude and we have to practice forgiveness. And with this, we have to serve Krishna. So we might think like, sometimes our mind is so powerful and it says that, you have committed so much of mistakes that even Krishna cannot correct you, or even Krishna cannot handle the situation now. Even the situation is out of control for even Krishna. So if we say like this, that we have done such a big mistake that Krishna's plan cannot work, then we are giving too much credit to our mistake and we are giving less credit to Krishna. So we should know, like, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent. So he has all the love for us, all the intelligence, all the power to handle anything and everything. Okay, so let us try to see this with an example. So you all use GPS system, Google, right?
Yes.
So
Yes, Prabhuji.
let us say you are going somewhere and the Google voice says turn left and you have taken turn right. What GPS will say? Get
It will
lost.
show
I
another
don't want to guide.
direction.
Rerouting.
It
Rerouting.
will
Does it
show
say that?
another
Does it
direction.
say that get lost? I don't want to talk to you anymore.
No, Prabhuji.
No,
No,
right? So it
Prabhuji.
reroutes. Okay, and then again it says take left, and again you have taken right. What it will do?
Again it
Again
reroutes.
Again
reroute.
it right. So no matter how many times we do a mistake, the GPS will accommodate and reroute. Okay, so our mistakes are not inconsequential. That means we do a mistake, there won't be any consequence. No, it won't be like that. There will be consequences. When we take a wrong turn, the distance between us and the destination will increase in terms of kilometers and in terms of time also. So similarly, when we do mistakes in this material world, yes, our time duration in this material world will increase, but that doesn't mean that Krishna cannot take us back. Okay, so Krishna will reroute. So our mistakes are not part of Krishna's plan, right? Krishna don't want us to make mistakes, but our mistakes can be accommodated in Krishna's plan. Just like how this GPS is rerouting, Krishna is the ultimate GPS. So no matter how many small or big mistakes we have done, we can always take shelter of the Krishna. So अजून 15-20 मिनिटं चालेल. हा, नंतर 10 वाजता. आता गेलास अजून एक प्रश्न विचारलास तर बघ आता. Okay, so I had some GPS. Okay, so what is happening is we are just trying to control our life and we are not able to control. When you're not able to control, we are taking shelter of Krishna because he is the ultimate controller. So in this way, when we forgive ourselves, when we show gratitude, we are not forgetting our mistakes. Okay, so we are taking responsibility. Yes, I have done mistake, I could have done better, but I don't stop myself here by just cribbing on what I have done. So similarly, Parikshit Maharaj has moved on. He has taken the decision that I will be doing the exclusive service to Krishna. Okay, and what he has done? He has taken the shelter of Shukadeva Goswami to hear about Bhagavatam. So here, what we have to learn from this pastime is, he actually had a fear of death. We all have fear of death. Okay, on the 7th day, a snake bird will come and will actually bite Parikshit Maharaj and he will die. But he was not fearful of the death. He was actually immersed in the stories of Krishna. Okay, so in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a verse which says, Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi Shrotavyah Kirtavascha Smartavyascha Ichhatabhyam. O descendant of King Bharata, one who desires to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul, the controller, and the savior from all miseries. So Parikshit Maharaj has taken the shelter of Krishna, and because of that, he became fearless. There was misery. He was going to die. He might had many plans, but all that plans got shattered. So many of reasons he had to to just crib on something, just blame others, blame himself, become miserable. But what he has done, he has taken the shelter of Krishna. Because of that, he actually become free from the miseries, free from the fears. So life sometimes hurts us in terrible ways. And if we focus only on the hurt, then we just cannot move forward. But if we focus on, okay, how can I serve now? Then we can move forward. And that is the thing we have to do. So in the conclusion, what we can see is, Krishna is the guiding source for all of us. Okay. In the 18th chapter, in the 1861, Krishna says, Ishvaraha sarva bhutanam hridadeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. So Krishna is guiding us. What I said as a GPS, actually, this is the based on 18.61. So Krishna is there to guide us. Okay. But are we taking his guidance? So when our emotions are so much, blocking our vision by saying, you have done this, that person has done this person has done this, what will happen is we will not be able to see Krishna's hand in our life. We'll not be able to hear Krishna, what he is speaking from inside. So Krishna want to guide us, but we are just neglecting him because we got caught in our own emotions. So we have to change our questions. Why this happening? Why that person has to do, etc. And we ask the question, how can I serve Krishna? And then Krishna will start guiding us. So thus, if we see the character of Parikshit Maharaj, he demonstrates that in spite of his small incidental mistake, which brought him terrible curse, he took the shelter of Krishna, by which not only he got blessed, but the austerity got blessed. Because of his curse, because of he taking the shelter, the Bhagavatam has come out. Okay, today what is Srimad Bhagavatam is available. It is the gift that we have because someone has to go through with something. Okay, something very terrible. If Parikshit Maharaj would have not taken shelter, maybe Srimad Bhagavatam would have not come in this beautiful way to us. So he was a king, he had so many things to take care, but when life was ending, he has taken shelter of Krishna. And rather than focusing on the hurt of the curse, he shifted his focus on the healing power of Krishna. So whenever, whether it is a small challenge or a big challenge, small trouble, big misery, whatever may be happening in our life, rather than we focusing on the things that are trying to hurt us, if we focus on the power of healing that Krishna has, then yeah, there will be miseries, but we will transcend those miseries. So devotees also have problems in their life, but they are so much absorbed in the thought of Krishna that they go beyond this. There is another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam where Lord Kapila tells to his mother Devahuti, he says, Madashrayah kathamrishtaha shrunuvanti kathayanti cha tapanti vividhastapa naitan madgata chetasaha. Engaged constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sadhus do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities. So, what is making them transcend to all this material miseries? They are also living in the material world. We are also living in the material world. But why they are able to transcend? Because they are absorbed their consciousness in hearing about Krishna, glorifying Krishna. So, similarly, whatever happens in our life, we should remember that that is the time where we have to intensify our exclusive service to Krishna. If there is something which we can do, then we have to do. If there is something which we cannot do, then it is better that rather than engaging our consciousness on cribbing about the situations that has happened or consequences that you have to face, better you shift your focus on hearing about Krishna. So for many people, this might look impractical. Okay, it looks impractical because they have not experienced it. When we take shelter of Krishna, when we experience relief, when we experience the peaceful atmosphere inside us, then definitely they will start taking shelter. But since we don't have an experience, we should not reject it, because we have to get the Shabda Pramana. The scriptures are saying, and all the personalities, all the devotees which we speak in the Srimad Bhagavatam, they all have taken shelter of Krishna in their extreme challenging situation. And that is one of the reasons that they have become great devotees. So when we get challenges, when we get all these consequences which are beyond our control, which cannot be bearable to us, we should start taking Krishna's shelter. And we should always remember that greater than the power of the world to hurt us is Krishna's power to heal us. Krishna is the supreme healer. Okay, there is nothing that Krishna cannot solve. And whether he is solving right now or little later, we have to be patient. Okay, our sometimes Krishna gives us troubles so that we can remember him. And sometimes Krishna acts like he's not listening to us because he wanted us to purify that, purify from the thought that we want to achieve something from the bhakti. Okay, so this topic we will elaborately discuss on Prahlad Maharaj pastime. Okay, so I'll just summarize what I have spoken. Okay, so we begin our talk by telling the theme of the our classes, that is, greater than the life's power to hurt is Krishna's power to heal. And what is the solution of this thing is we have to access the power of healing of Krishna by listening about him, by taking shelter of him. And we have told that we have to focus not on the wrongdoer. Okay, we might have done something wrong, someone else might have done something wrong, but our focus is not on the wrongdoer, but our focus is on the ultimate doer, that is Krishna. So we started with the pastime of how Parikshit Maharaj has done a small mistake and he has got the curse from Shringi to die in 7 days. And that time, Parikshit Maharaj has two options. He should crib on why did I do that, or he should just blame other person, or he can say that why this is happening to me, why a small mistake should lead to some terrible consequences like this. But he didn't do both. He actually never mentioned the name of Shringi further also, because he forget there only. He forgiven himself and he has moved on, taken shelter of Krishna. And we have spoken about how we have to look about the two other factors in between karma and reaction, that is Daiva and Kala. And we have taken the example of farming and a couple having a baby. Okay. And then later we have spoken about the pastime in the Mahabharata to know that Krishna is the Lord of destiny. Okay, so Krishna can change anything. And all that destiny game or law of karma that is happening, that has an intention that we have to evolve spiritually. So no matter good is happening or bad is happening in our life, the only intention of Krishna in giving all this is to make sure that we evolve spiritually. Then we spoke about how we have to change our question from why this is happening, why I have to do this, etc., to how can I serve Krishna. And during this situation, when we are going through the challenges, we can be grateful in our situation. So we cannot be grateful for all situations, but we can be grateful in all situations. And we are practicing devotion so that we can give ourselves to Krishna. So we can only give ourselves to Krishna when we forgive ourselves. So to give ourselves to Krishna, we have to forgive ourselves. Just like we have to forgive others, we have to forgive ourselves also. And Parikshit Maharaj has taken a decision that I will do exclusive devotion to Krishna. So similarly, when there is nothing that we can do, we have to take shelter exclusively of Krishna. When we can do something, we have to do that also, and we have to take shelter of Krishna. But when we feel like nothing can be done, then it is better to take exclusive devotion towards Krishna. And we have spoke about a verse from Bhagavatam, which says that how devotees are actually going beyond the miseries of life because they are always glorifying and hearing about Krishna. And we have spoke about that how Krishna is like the ultimate GPS. Okay, so we might get lost in our way because of our mistake or because of some other's mistake, whatever may happen, but Krishna is there as the ultimate GPS to guide us. So just like how Parikshit Maharaj has taken the shelter of Krishna, we also in our small, big or whatever challenges, we have to take shelter of Krishna. And how we can take shelter of Krishna? By engaging constantly in chanting and hearing about him. Okay, the sadhus who do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with the thoughts of my pastimes and activities. That is what Lord Kapila says. So if we are filled our mind with the thoughts of Krishna, then where is the place for all our problems or all our miseries to think about? So thoughts about Krishna are beyond our mind. Okay, and all our miseries can only come till our mind. So when we go beyond our mind thinking about Krishna, we will transcend. Though we are living in this miserable world, we can actually live beyond this world. So this is how we can practice devotion and we can handle the challenges like Parikshit Maharaj. So this is what we can learn from him. Though he has done small mistakes, but he has not got stuck. He just moved on and he just went back home, back to Godhead by taking shelter of Krishna. So this is what I wanted to share today. Okay, so thank you so much everyone for being patient and hearing all this. I try to justify by whatever I learned. I try to put the thoughts together. If something has been benefited to all of you, then I feel it's the mercy of Guru Krishna and Vaishnavas. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Hari bol
Hari bol
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hari bol. Hari bol.
Hari Bol, Prabhuji, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Yeah, any questions or comments related to 7.25 or this topic? We are open.
Prabhu, with your permission, there's a small story.
Yeah, Prabhu, please.
Yeah. Once there was a king and minister, and minister is so positive, always says that it's all Lord mercy, whatever is happening, happen for good only. Then suddenly the king, by doing some work, he lost his thumb finger. Then minister says he lost his thumb finger. Then minister says whatever happened, happened for good. And by hearing this word, king got very much angry, and he says to other minister, put him in jail, and let's see whatever happens, happen for good. No, we'll see what good happens for him. Then next day he went to hunting animals, and suddenly he got defeated to a small people who are Adivasis, like jungle, who are people who are living in jungle, and they thought to give king in Bali to Kali Mata, and they made all arrangements. And this king is contemplating what mistake I have done today. I'm going to become a Bali to Kali Mata. Then just before giving Bali in front of Kali Mata, they observed his entire part of his body. And one of the person says that, Arey, king is not having thumb finger, we cannot offer him. Who, like in pure form, as you said, pure form we have to offer to like gods. They thought the person is not having any thumb finger, we cannot call it as complete man. Yes, complete man. Then is not eligible to offer to Kali Mata. Then they relieved him. Then with lot of joy and enjoyment, he started coming to his kingdom. After reaching to his kingdom, and he ordered that, Arey, whoever in jail, release them with happiness. And this minister also got relieved. And minister said to the king, I told you, no, whatever has happened, happened for good. Then he realized it. Arey, yes, what you said is right. Okay, I lost thumb finger, but because of this thumb finger, I could save my life today. But I have one doubt. Okay, why you got punished? Without any reasons, you got punished. You said good thing only. Why you got punished? You don't know, king. Whatever has happened, happened for good only. If you don't put me in jail, I could have come along with you. And if I am along with you, if you get defeated with the Adivasis, they thought to bully you. They observed you from top to bottom. Okay, because you don't have thumb finger, they're not bullied you to Kali Mata. Then they will see next option. It's me. I from top to bottom, my entire body is fit to give bully. That's the reason Krishna stopped me by giving this punishment. Devotees always looks positive in every aspects of life. Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, for so nicely explaining about it.
Thank you, Prabhu. So yeah, devotee is always Ashavadi. Okay, Ashabadha is one of the quality of a devotee, and he always sees the hand of Krishna in everything. A materialist will only talk about mechanics. Maybe this I have done, that is why this has happened. But a devotee says, okay, whatever is there, it is under the Krishna's plan. Let me go ahead. Yeah, any questions or comments?
Tanupriya Mataji raised her hand, Prabhu.
Yes, Tanupriya Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, today afternoon I was watching Dr. Natai Seni Mataji's video, Prabhuji. The same topic she explained, but in a different way. She told we have to know what to do when we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
That means like we have to know that we have to surrender ourselves and take shelter to the lotus feet when we don't know what to do. So correct. I could relate today's topic very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, thank you, Kritika Mataji. So, okay, some of people have commented. Prabhu, can you check comments and the questions if they are there in the chat box?
almost all comments only, Prabhu. Like great example, Hari Bol to Prabhuji, Sriharsh Prabhu. Thanks a lot, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji, Hari Bol. I don't find any questions, Prabhu.
Okay, so questions if there. Thank you everyone. Kritika Mataji, Jayalakshmi Mataji, Sumana Mataji, Seturam Prabhuji, Anuradha Mataji, Aniket Prabhu, Bindu Mataji, Seturam Prabhu. Thanks a lot. Puja Kumari Mataji. Yes, any questions you would like to ask?
Prabhuji, I had a question.
Yes, Puja Mataji.
Suppose like you said, like if we made a mistake,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
so like why we get some big or small, but suppose like somebody like in Parikshit Maharaj story,
Hmm.
so he committed a small mistake,
Hmm.
but the son of
Shami Krishi, Shringi. Yeah.
Krish, yeah.
Hmm.
So he cursed him,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So there are some situation like when somebody other people they do something or they hurt us,
Hmm.
at that time how we should stop ourselves to curse them, right?
Hmm.
Like if we get cursed, okay, we'll find the shelter, but we should not curse, so in that situation how we should, because that moment is so intense,
Correct.
it is very difficult to, even I'm just because I have kids, so they push you to that point where now there is no other thing, I like I have to raise my hand or I have to shout like anything, okay.
Hmm.
So at that moment, at that peak time, how we can control ourselves? It's
You
not
would
about kids,
Practical is
it's about
happening,
like
bro.
elder, every situation. And so if that is the situation, how we should stop ourselves?
okay. So see, basically, if I'm not wrong, you are talking from the perspective of Shringi, why he should have stopped himself from cursing. Is that in that
Yeah,
way?
because he is also knowledgeable person, right?
Hmm. But still, he made a
He
mistake.
can see, yeah, he can see the thing, he know everything, but still he cursed him
Yeah.
very, like, it's a big curse. So
Correct.
knowledgeable person, though we have lots of knowledge, but we commit this kind of thing, we
Yeah.
curse badly. So
Correct.
how we should protect, we should not do like, but how to protect
Yeah.
them?
True, Mataji. Yeah. So I'll try to answer this. So see, broadly speaking, we all have material disease, and that material disease is we want to be the controller. Okay, so why we get angry, why we get hurt? Because we think this thing should not happen in this way. I have planned in different way, that other person has to do in this way, but he has done in a different way. The things have gone in a different way. So this actually frustrates us, makes us angry, creates hate, creates so much of frustration, and we start losing our intelligence. Okay, so if we practice devotion, what will happen is, as I said, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that bhakti frees us from the burden that we are the controller. Okay, so when if we talk about the same pastime, when Shamik Rishi got that garland of dead snake by Parikshit Maharaj, it is between Shamik Rishi and Parikshit Maharaj. Shringi could have stopped himself by thinking, he is my father, he knows many things more than me. So let me not interfere in this matter. Let him take this matter on himself. He could have done that. Okay. So, but there, what he has done, he has considered himself as the controller. And not only that, he also said, just because Krishna has departed, these things are happening. So I will protect the dharma. And he has done that. So
Mhm.
similarly, we also have a feeling like this has to be done in this way. If not, then I will correct it, either by cursing or shouting or punishing on my own. So sometimes when it is a small case, like we are chastising our children, that is okay. That is just on a, with we have a concern that they have to behave well, etc. That is okay. But if someone outsider is hurting us and we are trying to curse him, then it is a different case. Okay. So how we can stop ourselves? We cannot stop ourselves on the real time without any devotional practice. If we start practicing from now, maybe after 6 months or 1 year, we might get that sense control of not losing our tongue and not losing our intelligence in the tempting situations. But if we are not doing anything, all our anarthas are intact, and whenever the situation comes, we will just vomit. We will just talk whatever comes in our mouth. We will just talk whatever our mind says. Our intelligence goes shut off. So what happens is we are living in a very material world. So there will be situations, there will be people where we get invoked to get angry, where we get tempted to do some things which are not right. Okay. And that particular moment, our intelligence won't work because all our emotions of anger, hatred, and the controller mentality blind us. And we stop looking at the other things. Just like how Shringi stopped looking at the past of Parikshit Maharaj. He has considered only one act of Parikshit Maharaj. He forgot what all Parikshit Maharaj has done. Actually, Parikshit Maharaj has tried to send Kali out of his kingdom. Okay, and his kingdom is the whole earth. So he wanted to send Kali out. So that greatness is he is the king, and he being saved by Vishnu. So can we say like he's a small person? He's a great person. He's a great devotee. So forget all that. Shringi has forgot all that thing, and he just focused on one bad act, one mistake of Parikshit Maharaj has done. So similarly, when we are angry, when we feel like cursing someone, we should take a pause and we should process our thought. Okay, this person might have done wrong, but does this person deserves my curse or all my bad words? And does this person has to be defined only based on what he has done now, or he has to be defined based on all the other things which he has done? So today what is happening is because of our less sense control, we will only see what wrong has done. That person might have done so many good things to others or for us also, but we actually forget that 99 things he has done good, one wrong thing we will consider 100% fail. So this way we actually have to have a broader thinking. We have to sharpen our intelligence through our practice and reading. Because why I have shared this whole class, because we all have this problem. We don't have gratitude, we don't have forgiveness, we don't take shelter of Krishna when we get challenges. Always we get shelter of our own mind only. Okay, so our Guru Maharaj is Man Maharaj. Okay, our own mind. So that is why we have problems. So when we hear about Parikshit Maharaj, how great devotees are taking shelter of Krishna, how they are like, Parikshit Maharaj is so powerful, he could have counteracted the curse, but he has not. Okay, he has considered as it is Krishna's will to take me back home, or he wanted me to do exclusive devotion because of all these responsibilities of kingdom, I'm not able to perform my intentional devotion. So it might be Krishna's plan, so that I can get detached to all these material activities and get exclusive devotion. So he thought in that way. So whenever someone hurts us, we should start thinking in that way. Maybe I wanted
No,
to be
that's
a
why when
controller.
we started this topic, I said it's more relevant because nowadays this is happening.
Yeah.
The moment somebody opens his mouth, we'll immediately we predict like, oh, now is going to say something about me or my family. Oh, he's looking me like this. Now he's going to say something. Okay, and then उस दिन ऐसा बोला था मैं देख लूंगी या इसको भी
देख
ऐसा ही
लूंगी,
होगा.
yeah.
This is happening. So
Happening
that's
this
why.
always.
And one more question, Prabhuji. Like in every stories, we see like all the people who do mistakes, they are not the simple person.
Hmm.
Okay, they also have knowledge. They do lots of tapasya, everything, but still at that particular moment they slip.
Hmm.
So sometimes I feel like इतना ज्ञानी होके भी उनको ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? तो फिर हम तो कहाँ ही जाएंगे? हमको तो कुछ ज्ञान ही नहीं है like.
Yeah, true.
So
So
we justify, like I justify myself. वो ही नहीं कर सकते तो sometimes I just
see,
sometimes it happens.
the lesson what we have to learn by seeing great exalted people doing mistake or falling down, that what we have to learn is Maya is very powerful. Even if that person cannot handle the Maya single-handedly, how come I am so confident that I am keep on doing all my material activities without Krishna consciousness? Okay, so that is the lesson we have to learn. We have to learn the lesson that we should not be overconfident. Okay, but our mind is no, it is like perplexed, and it is always perverse. It will say like, वो ही नहीं कर पाए तो मैं क्या करूँगा? So I am at no fault. Okay, so this is the wrong lesson which we learn always. Okay, the actual lesson is वो ही नहीं कर पा रहे, उतना डिवोशन के साथ, तो मैं इतना डिवोशन के साथ इतना करने की कोशिश क्यों कर रहा हूँ? So rather than going like overconfident person, I should be humble and I should say, accept myself कि मेरा उतना devotion नहीं है, I have to intensify my devotion. That is the lesson we have to learn. Okay, so in bhakti, two things you have to avoid. One is discouragement and one is overconfidence. Why you should not be discouraged when you fall down or when you do mistakes? Because Maya is too powerful. You are a tiny being. Okay, and why you should not be overconfident? Because Maya is too powerful and you are a tiny being. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna, Prabhuji.
anyone else have any question? No questions? All understood everything?
No, Prabhuji, it's very difficult to just understand this in one go.
Correct.
So, I don't know where you get words to speak so fluently and so easily flowing from your mind. It's not easy. I think Krishna is guiding you every minute, whatever you talk. So whatever you've said, only a little, a very, very little thing has gone into our heads. Like the storyline we can know, but the deeper thing, it takes a longer time, Prabhu, unless and until we are into that, reading and understanding. That's why all of us are quiet, most of us.
Okay.
Implementation part is very much difficult, Prabhuji. Whatever you have said, it's true. But
Yeah.
when we start implementing in real life,
Correct.
it's very difficult.
Yeah.
That's what. So we are thinking what to do now, how to.
Yeah, that's good. Even like whatever is difficult, it is worth. So it's okay. Even if it takes time. Actually, you have given your ears to hear this. That is also a great achievement. Okay, so how much you are able to implement this, fine, that is a different issue because each one of us have different challenges. And it took long time for me to implement these things. And because of that, I'm able to relate more. Most of the topics which I share with all of you are the topics which I have practiced or the things which have changed my life. So I was not able to forgive myself for all my mistakes. I was not able to practice gratitude. And because of that, I have gone through a lot of suffering. So when I heard these things, when I heard about Parikshit Maharaj, then I felt like, okay, I need not identify myself so much with all my mistakes. Maybe I can do something good and start identifying myself with that good things. Okay, so I have a choice with whom I have to get identified with. Yeah, I have done mistakes, but I have done some good things also. If nothing is good in my life, maybe from today I can start doing something good and start associating myself with those good things. So that's how we can move on. Because if Krishna is there to forgive us for all our mistakes, why we cannot forgive ourselves? Are we more bigger than Krishna that we don't want to forgive ourselves? So Krishna is all forgiving. We should also forgive ourselves, and then only we can give ourselves to Krishna. So I believe you all will implement, because this is not as difficult as chanting 64 rounds every day or reading one canto every day. Okay, or memorizing all 100 shlokas in one day. It is still far, far easy. And you all are doing so many challenging things in your life already. You all have been great mothers, great employees, great brothers, sisters, all family members. All these responsibilities are not easy. You have done all these things all through this life. So I believe implementing these are not so big thing. Your mind may say, yeah, बहुत बड़ी बात है, it's so big I cannot implement. But don't listen to your mind. I'm sure if I can implement, you all can implement much easily. Okay. So sometimes you might feel like I am advanced, but no, you are all advanced, because what it took me to learn more time, you are actually learning very quickly. I can see that by seeing your questions, by seeing your responses, by seeing your patients who are there, from last 2 hours you are listening. So you all are really advanced. Okay. So you all can implement this. That's what I believe in. And you will also believe in future.
Thank you for the words of
Thank you,
encouragement.
Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yes, Mataji, thank you. Okay, so if no one has any questions, we'll see you all on Wednesday. Tomorrow I'll share which question we will discuss on Wednesday. So you all come prepared. If you get any questions in between also, every day, Monday to Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. we are opening the group. Utilize that time so that you can put your questions.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Prabhuji, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Good night. Hare Krishna.
Good night, Prabhu.
Good night. Have a happy weekdays. See you all on Wednesday. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.